Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, everyone. Good evening, good morning, wherever you are, to day 19 of our 21-day journey together. Today's topic is going beyond the mind. Going beyond the mind. Let's do that together today. Get your foot soak bowls ready. You know what you need. A towel, a bit of fresh water to rinse, some salt for your foot soak. Get it all ready. You have some time now. What about the upcoming course schedule? What's going to happen? Don't be scared. Day 19 of 21. If my maths skills don't lose me out here, we are not at the end. It's not just 3 more sessions to go. No, this is the beginning of a long journey we will embark on together. But this set of courses, of sessions, the first 21 days are going to be ending soon. And we shall have a 2-week break. But in these 2 weeks, you have foot soak and meditation every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, starting from next Monday, February 17th. We return to our regular course for the second part on February 14th. After a nice 2-week break and foot soaking, we return. This time, the sessions will take place Sunday, Tuesday and Thursday. So what will expect you there, you will see. It's going to be very similar, but we're going to go deeper on each and every level. So please join us. If you're new today, you can always view all the sessions that we've had on our website. The website link should be, I think, in the Zoom chat. There's also usually a QR code that we share. So have a look. Once you have found the YouTube channel, you can also go back to the YouTube channel, watch it from there. We have all the handouts that we have prepared for you on the website. And if there's any more questions you have, there is breakout room help in the end. You write to breakout room help you can see in your chat as a participant, and you will be put in a breakout room. Breakout room means you will meet a mentor one-to-one. And they will give you, sometimes it's a group, and they can meditate with you, they can answer questions, whatever is on your heart and your mind. You can also request a mentor. The mentor will be available for you whenever you need to meditate together, to answer more questions, etc. So before we go, I'm laughing because I'm always breaking the plan, don't I? I would like to say a little bit about the introduction music, because this introduction music was quite interesting, wasn't it? So some of you might join already half past. So I was there from half past listening to this fabulous performance of what we call an Indian instrument called sitar. Now you may notice that we use once in a while Indian music to meditate. And the sitar is a string instrument accompanied here by tabla, a percussion instrument. And at times, this music took you to places where you thought probably, oh, my internet connection isn't very stable, because it disappears. Because this player is extremely playful and innovative. I have a feeling it's Nishat Khan. Maybe you can write it in the chat. But whoever so kindly picked these tracks has the desire for all of us to actually get into a meditative mood. And our topic today, with going beyond the mind, there's nothing better than music. And today we have literally 3 musicians, including myself, on the call. 4 musicians, I apologize, 4 musicians on the call. Maybe we can even talk about this. But in this particular music, I just wanted to say briefly, he plays very fast. But if we think that something gets us into meditation and calms us down, that is slow, that may be right. But there is something about music that is slow, and then Indian music is built like that. It starts slow, gets faster and faster, and culminates in this explosion. And for me, it's very, very relatable to meditation too, because at the end of the meditation is this explosion of joy. And it should be really in complete thoughtless state, but completely full of joy. And I just wanted to share that. What you may maybe think, why is there such fast music playing? Because it's very joyful, it's very playful and very innocent. It's a play. So let's have all the presenters here. Maybe they can add on a little bit of something about music and Thoughtless awareness through music. I don't know, I just thought of it when I was listening to the music. Here we are, Steve, Wendy, all musicians. Here we are, and Sylvia, who is going to play Indian music today for us. So, hello, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hello.
Hello.
Steve, would you like to say something? Introduce yourself and maybe share something on the topic.
Well, my name is Steve, and I live in the southern part of Florida. Um, I am sort of a retired musician in a way, very amateur musician at this point, but everything you said about music is beautiful and true, and it does contribute to our meditation tremendously. And one of the things that I really loved about Sahaja Yoga when I started was that I was doing music very seriously then, and I felt that I could really suddenly tap into something very universal. After I started meditating, it changed everything for me as a musician, and that has sort of translated over the years into the way I approach life in general. So beautiful, transformative experience.
I must add that in his humility, Steve doesn't mention that he composes and he improvises. And as Wendy will prove later, for us who come from classical music, it feels sometimes very restrictive. And Indian music with giving you very certain strict rules, but then the freedom within these rules to just explore and create. I think Steve has definitely done that in a slightly different style, similar to what I sometimes do on the piano, right? Your main instrument's the piano, right?
Yeah.
So when you play, how do you feel? Does the playing, the composing help you go thoughtless? What about inspiration?
Well, I would say that when it's good, it's because I'm thoughtless. When the music that comes out is good, it's because it's spontaneous.
Spontaneous,
And
right?
even composing, which is not such a spontaneous process in a way, because you're building a real structure, but still, it's when things just happen sort of spontaneously. When I'm in that state, that's when the music is good.
Love it. Love it. Because it bypasses our thought process, isn't it? Wendy. Hello, Wendy.
Hi. So we seem to be talking about music.
Yeah, that's
The
changed it.
thing is, the reason we meditate to music is because it is a direct connection to the divine. Basically, it's a universal language, and it takes us beyond our thoughts. We don't need to understand or think anything when we feel music. So it's a very deep thing. I had one thing that I really wanted to say to everybody tonight, so I'm going to take my opportunity. I just wanted to say what a joy it's been to be here with you. I have felt so much love from all of you and so many vibrations from all of you. And I just hope that you're really patient with yourself. I hope that you give yourself a chance to grow into this brand new state of awareness. We've spent our whole lives thinking and putting our attention outside, and we're just learning how to bring our awareness in and how to go quiet. So I hope you'll be very patient with yourself. And Steve, I think you need to turn your volume up a little bit if you have a chance.
Okay.
So true, including the volume. Now, Sylvia, you're from my country, Austria.
Yes, we are both
Welcome.
from Austria, but away for a long time, still carrying our roots of music.
Yeah.
In Austria, we have fantastic musicians and Mozart and
Yes. We're very blessed that way, really are. So you
yeah,
also initially learned, like Wendy learned I mean, she's a violinist again. She's too humble to mention, but she's a violinist.
violin. No,
Yeah, and
I don't play
Sylvia,
violin.
no, Wendy. But you
Wendy,
learned,
sorry. Yes,
yeah, but you learned the metal flute, the original classical flute initially, and then you switched to the Bansuri Indian
to the
flute.
Indian flute.
Yeah,
Yes, yes, I
what made
switched.
you want to switch?
In Western classical music, we are sticking to the notes, and there's an exact expression, exact pronunciation of the note. It has to be this much. So there's too much rules. Like you have no freedom. That's how I felt. And with the Indian flute, you are in that circle where you move in the main composition, but then you move in this direction, you move in that direction. So you have complete freedom, as Steve said, spontaneous, and spontaneity takes place. And if you think too much in the process, like when you play spontaneous, you get into a flow and you feel it. It is a very different feeling, as if something just takes you and carries you, like how the water just, you float. And when I think, I sink. That's how I think. When I think, I sink. Yeah. So,
I love it. So
so
just
let's see.
briefly before we get started with the meditation, would any of you still send a little kind of advice, or like Wendy so nicely expressed, a word for our participants? Steve, do you have anything you would like to give a word of advice? Or
Yeah, be patient with yourself, be consistent, and it's amazing what happens.
Yeah, and don't listen to your mind. Sometimes just tell your mind to be quiet for some time, because it stops us, right? When you're walking on the road as a stone, maybe it is a small stone, but the mind said, no, I cannot move on. But then you just lift the stone and throw it away and move on. So just throw the stones away and keep going.
love it. So true. Every day. All right, let's get meditating. I see you all later for the Q&A and breakout rooms.
Okay. Welcome again, everybody. And it's such a joy to be with you and to be able to discuss and meditate with you on a very deep subject of going beyond the mind. And this is kind of picking up very much on what was done yesterday. And one of the things that stands out to me from yesterday was when Shivani talked about trying to navigate our life and the world through the mind. And we think, we analyze, we draw on all the influences and all the things that we've been told, and we try to figure it out. And it's very stressful, and it often doesn't work that well. And so here with Sahaja Yoga, we have a new resource to draw on. So if you remember the chakra chart, we have the 7 chakras ascending along the spine, in the head, and on top of the head. And so the mind is all that mental activity is here. And this is how pretty much we, the human race, has been up until now navigating our way through living on this earth. And suddenly now, with the awakening of the Kundalini and the opening of our Sahasrara, there's a new resource where instead of being limited to the contents of our own mind, we can tap into something which is universal, which is vast, which is the source of fundamental knowledge about what's right, what's real, the way that the universe works, the way that nature works. And that can flow through us. We can connect to that, and we can navigate through our lives, even at a very practical level, day-to-day level, using that resource. So there's a transition, there's an evolution that we're involved in here, of going from the mind level of awareness to this next level of awareness, the next chakra up, the Sahasrara. So if you remember, we have a left side, which is all of our emotions and all of our conditionings, and it crosses over and it ends on the right side of our head with a little balloon called the superego, all of our conditionings. We have a right channel, which comes up and crosses over to the left side of the head, and that's our ego. That's all of our thinking and analysis and opinions and ideas. But both of those little balloons, they're dead ends. They don't connect to that universal energy, which we can only access up here. So we want to go beyond those 2 balloons, which really define what the mind is and are here in the Agya chakra. We want to go to the Sahasrara chakra. So without any further ado, because talking about going beyond the mind is a little ironic in a way. So why don't we go beyond the mind together? So we'll start our foot soak. We can first raise our Kundalini together. And you all, by now, I'm sure you remember how to do that. We do it slowly and really try to feel inside the corresponding movement and bring it up above the top of the head, and we tie one knot. We do it the second time together and tie two knots. And the third time, three knots above the head. Bring our hands back down to our laps. Open and just take a couple of deep breaths for a moment. Start to feel inside how we feel. Now, with our attention inside, let's do the bandhan, where we put our right hand by our left hip, and we do those 7 arches over the top of the head to the right hip and back again by the same path. And let's really feel what we're doing. Let's do it at a speed where we're feeling it. 7 times. And then open our hands on our laps. Now let's give a bandhan to our foot soaking water, and we can just point our right hand toward the water. And we just ask the divine energy to vibrate this water and this salt so that it's powerful for cleansing our system. And then we can put our feet in the water. Hands are open on our laps. Let's just begin to tune in to how we feel and what we feel inside. And take a deep breath and just hold it in for a couple of seconds. And let it out. And hold it out for a couple of seconds. You can do this a few times to help us to settle down. Let's now bring our right hand to the top of our head, to the sasrara, and press down a little bit firmly on top of the head. And bend our heads a little bit forward. And Here we want to just connect with that source of joy, source of inspiration, to that vast resource, which is infinite and universal and very beautiful. So let's just feel our hand there on the top of our head. And let our attention gradually settle there. And let's just ask very humbly from our hearts, Mother Kundalini, please rise within me. Please open my sahasrara and deepen my connection, deepen my meditation. Please take me into that beautiful state of connection with the divine. Let's slowly raise our hand up, maybe about 6 or 8 inches above our heads. And let's just be aware of what we feel in that space between our right hand and our head. And let our attention settle there. Just establish that this is where we are. This is where our attention is now. Our whole being, our whole attention is there. Let's keep our attention there and just slowly bring the hand back down to the lap. We'll sit quietly for a minute and just observe. If we find that we lose our attention, if we start thinking, very simply, let's put our hand back on the top of the head. Just bring our attention back there. Feel our hand there again. Feel above the head. And in this way, we can just keep gently bringing our attention back again and again to that connection. Let's just enjoy this peace and know that this state of peace, of silence, we can use this state, we can be in this state and really live our lives with this resource, with this as the resource that guides us. It's the next level of awareness. It's the next level, again, beyond the mind. Now, as we move into the next phase of the meeting, let's just stay, as best we can, let's stay in this state. So now, even as we wash our feet off and put our foot-soaking bowls aside, let's just keep our attention in the sasrara and see if we can maintain this throughout the meeting. And if we do, the experience will just keep growing deeper. So let's wash our feet and finish our foot soak. And we put the foot soaking bowl just off to the side so we don't have to deal with it now. So now, with our attention still in this meditative state, we'll now listen to Shri Mataji for a few minutes.
So everything, the timing, everything has to be worked out according to the need of the spirit and not need of the gross. When that happens, you move smoothly and understandingly the whole pattern of the divine, how it works out. And that is how you understand the dynamism of time. Because you live in the present, not in the future or in the past. Actually, the past doesn't exist and future has not come. We don't know what future is. To come in the present, you have to be the spirit. And when you are in the spirit, then you realize that this present is the reality. The rest is a myth. When the Kundalini rises, she passes attention into an area or she penetrates into an area where there is silence. Because a thought rises and falls off. Another thought rises and falls off. In between these two thoughts, this area exists of the present. Now, but if I say you stop at this point to be at this point, you cannot. Your mind is jumping either on the past or on the future. But the Kundalini is the only thing that stops at present moment, so that you don't consider the past and the future, but you enjoy the present, the complete dynamism of the present, and you are effective. You are dynamic. You can do 1,001 things which normally you cannot do. And you are surprised how it works out. The divine has its own plans, has its own understanding, and we cannot make the divine to work as we want. We have to accept whatever the divine does and manages, and then we see the miracles of the divine and we are surprised how efficient it is, how beautiful it is. Like a machine, we feel the efficiency of the divine, but above all, we feel the compassion, the love, the understanding of the divine. But first, we must rise up to that. And for that, one has to grow in the awareness of the Spirit. If we cannot develop the awareness of the Spirit, we lose that magnitude which we have to achieve. So, what is to be respected is the Spirit after realization, because it gives you the truth. To understand the truth, you have to be the Spirit. Otherwise, whatever you understand is falsehood, is not the truth. You think that is the truth, is not so. For example, now, if I am sitting on this chair, you won't know any time that I ever sat on this chair. But supposing there's a realized soul who comes round, immediately he will know that there was someone like me. For example, I say that Mozart was a realized soul. How do I know? He's dead now. Because you can feel it on vibrations that he was a realized soul. I say Abraham Lincoln was a realized soul. Not because the way he lived or what he did, that was just an expression or was the symptom of his greatness. But because when you think of him, you get cool breeze in your hand. Tremendously cool breeze, soothing, which crawls over you. Oh, that's Abraham Lincoln. We do not know where we spend our time, what people are important to us till we are the Spirit. We waste our time catering to something absolutely useless. And then suddenly we discover, oh God, what a waste of time. What a waste of energy. What a waste of money. This man was a cheat. He cheated me. This work was all falsehood. Why did I waste my time there? After realization, you become the absolute. There is no relative value. You do not judge anything relatively. You just know what is absolute. And once you know the absolute, you are cocksure about it. There's no wavering. Thus, you become an extremely powerful person and you know the truth about everything. Now, the truth is very simple, that you are the Spirit and you are not this body, you are not this mind, and you are not this ego or your conditioning, but you are the free spirit. That's the truth is. But it is not just a mental truth, but is actually so and has to be actualized. The third thing that happens to you, apart from your awareness becoming the truth, the complete knowledge, you become the source of joy. Not that you only receive the joy, but you become the source of joy, the source of bliss, and the source of peace.
Let us stay in meditation for a minute.
So let's just keep in this quiet state, following this beautiful music. We can close our eyes. If we're wearing glasses, we can just take them off and lay them down. We can just allow our bodies to just relax, physically relax. We'll take a nice deep breath in, slowly, nice long breath. Hold it for a few seconds and then exhale. And as we breathe out, we can just allow our bodies to very much relax and any stress to just be blown out with the breath. So let's take 3 deep breaths together. And when we finish our breaths, we can just breathe normally. Allow the rhythm of our breath to calm us. We'll just watch our breath as the air goes in and out of our lungs. With a very gentle focus, we'll watch. We can take our right hand and put it on our center heart chakra in the center of our chest. And allow our hand to guide our awareness inside, below where it is, into the heart. Just give ourselves a chance to feel our heart chakra. We can keep our hand here for a moment longer. And we can slow our breath a little bit longer breath, a little bit deeper. And each time we take a breath in, we can allow our heart chakra, all the muscles in our heart around the heart chakra, and the actual chakra to relax a little more with each breath in. Allow it to open a little wider. When we're ready, we can take our hand down, put it palm up in our lap, but keep our gentle focus in our heart. As we continue watching our heart, we can step back and watch our heart from a little distance. Now we can expand our focus to the Vishuddhi chakra in the throat. We'll put the right hand across our throat where we swallow. And just allow our hand to guide us into our throat chakra. And we can allow our shoulders to relax. We can allow all the muscles on our face to relax, our jaw to relax. And even where we swallow, we can allow that to relax and open a little bit. Again, we can step back, give a little distance, and watch how our throat chakra feels from a little distance. Let's put our hand down, palm up in our lap. Now we'll just continue to watch anything happening within us from a little distance, like we're watching from the seats in a theater. Everything happening up on a big screen, and there's some distance between us and our thoughts and feelings. We'll just let ourselves settle. If there's a thought, we'll watch it. Just let it go by. If there's a feeling, we'll let it rise and fall, watching it without judging. So now we can put our hands together and bow to our spirit within us, because our spirit has been watching for us everything that goes on inside. Now let's go ahead and raise up our kundalinis and give ourselves a bandhan. Nice and slowly. See if we can feel the energy rising. And as we give the bandhan, we can just see if we can feel the vibrations flowing from our right hand as we draw the protection around our chakras. We can come to the surface, open our eyes. We have a few announcements before our question and answer session. Please stick around to get the news. I'll send it back to Sia.
Thank you, Steve, for this wonderful meditation, Wendy for the silence, and obviously Sylvia for this beautiful music. Before we meet back in the panel for a couple of questions and answer, and also in the breakout rooms, which you can request in the chat, quick announcement for those who came late. Tomorrow we focus on prolonging the state of thoughtless awareness. So we are continuing this journey, what we did today and yesterday about thoughtless awareness, trying to connect even deeper. Day 20. As announced before, we take a break after day 21 for 2 weeks, and we're back for a second set of 21 days, going deeper. We review things that we've done before, and we go deeper. It's going to be very exciting. Until then, we have foot soaks available every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and that will also continue in the second part of the course. The second part of the course will only take place on Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. As you notice, nothing on Saturday, but else we keep going. The same Zoom link, same everything, same YouTube channel. Hope to see you then. Mentors, if you would still have not requested a mentor, this is your chance. This is a person who will be there for you, answer your questions, and you can also join our WhatsApp groups. Here you go. I'd like to invite all the meditation leads and our musician back, please. And let's try to do this as thoughtless as we can. Let's speak whilst being absolutely thoughtless. Here we all are, blissed out. I would like to ask you the very obvious question to the title, Beyond the Mind, is that possible? And follow-up question, is it possible without self-realization? That means without the awakening of the Kundalini energy. Steve, would you like to go first?
Sure. Thanks, Sia. So is it possible to, first of all, yes, the state of thoughtless awareness is possible. But before the awakening of the Kundalini, it could be a little bit of a confusing question to think about because, for instance, if you're asleep, you're not thinking. At least I'm not thinking when I'm asleep. I assume that's true for everybody. And maybe if you take certain mind-altering substances, you may sort of numb the mind and you may not be thinking. But you're not in the state that we're talking about when we talk about thoughtless awareness. We're talking about a state where you're very alert, you're very present, you're fully in the present, you're fully aware. But again, you're going beyond the mind. You're not going to a lower level of awareness. Your mind is just numb and you're kind of out of it. But you're going to a higher level of awareness where it's an enhanced and beautiful awareness, but very alert and very present.
Sylvia, would you like to add on?
I remember at the very beginning, I was asking, okay, how can you get thoughtless? How can you get thoughtless? And then for one day, I continuously said, I forgive, because at the meditation class, they told me, just forgive, open your agya, forgive, forgive. So one day, I continuously just said, like, I forgive, I forgive, I forgive. And then suddenly it was really a moment that I did not think for a moment. It was such a big aha moment. The first time you really feel it, that physically it is such a sensation that I did not think. But then immediately the next thought comes. And then I started, as Steve explained, the awareness changes that I have so many thoughts. Oh my God, I didn't know. Because before our Kundalini's awakening, we are so much identified with all the thoughts that we don't know how much is there. And once we are getting aware, then in the meditation class I learned, let the thoughts flow by like clouds. And I have like a race course going on there, so many thoughts. And then, but over time, my thoughts slow down, right? So these are all small, small milestones in my personal journey. And
Wendy,
yeah, thank you.
how about, is it possible to be thoughtless without self-realization?
I think even before realization, you have spaces between your thoughts, but you can't maintain it. You can't have a deep minute's worth of silence between thoughts, because you need this Sahasrara chakra open. You need that connection to allow it. And I feel the best way to really go quiet is to allow your heart to open, because we're taught, even in the philosophy, I think, therefore I am. I only exist because my thoughts make me have meaning. And it's actually a little bit of a false thing. Our thoughts may be true and they may not be. They may be powerful and they may not be. But when we allow our heart to open and we lead from our heart instead of from our mental ideas, this is where we start getting really, really quiet. And if you want to do a really simple meditation on your own at home, just focus on your heart. Allow your heart chakra to open. Then encourage the Kundalini to come to the top, and that's it. That's meditation. So we want to go, and we have to be patient, because we want to go from always leading with our mind and always having our attention outside to bringing our awareness in, and always leading from our heart. And we've had a whole lifetime of doing it that other way. So we just have to be very patient and allow this. It happens spontaneously without you really having to make it happen, but you just have to give it a little bit of time and patience.
So what is happening in my subtle system when I'm in thoughtless awareness? And why do I need that? Why can't I just keep on living how I've always done? Who wants to take that one? Sylvia is laughing. I give you.
What is happening in my subtle system? So our chakras, our energy centers, they turn. Chakra is the translation, means wheel. And they also turn on a particular frequency. If they are blocked, they go slower, and then maybe we start feeling a physical sensation on the fingers, which particular chakra is blocked. But when the chakra is clear, for example, as Wendy mentioned, the heart, then it moves faster, and the Kundalini can freely move up until on top of the head. So there's actually a tangible sensation sometimes happening, a throbbing, or which we initially feel in the fingers. And it takes ages to really learn deeply about the subtle system. There is so much knowledge, but it is more about experience. And when we are thoughtless, we allow it to happen. So when the chakra turns in the right speed, then the qualities come, the heart opens, or for example, qualities such as confidence, the sense of security, fearlessness, all in the heart. The qualities come out automatically. Yeah.
It's a very nice answer. Steve, would you like to add something to that?
Excuse me. Steve, what was the second part of your question?
Why
You
do
have
I
to have
have
my
to keep
attention.
doing that? Why do I have to go
Oh,
thoughtless? Why can't I just
well,
live how I always lived?
we can, but most of us who are here, that's probably not what we're looking for, because we wouldn't be meditating, I think, if we were satisfied with that. Because, we feel how working out everything with the mind in life has, for most of us, it hasn't really worked all that well. It's stressful, it's frustrating, and it doesn't usually, sometimes, it produces results, but I mean, it doesn't flow, it doesn't have that sort of natural feeling, organic feeling of really getting to the essence of a situation and working it out. And there is, I mean, through this process of getting connected to the divine through our Kundalini awakening, I mean, we can tap into this force which makes everything work, And it's not because we're making it happen. It's because it is so benevolent. It's working things out for us in a very ideal way. And we kind of get out of the way, and let things happen the way they're really meant to happen. It takes a little bit of trust, because there's that feeling of like, if I don't make it happen, it might not happen the right way. But we learn through our experience gradually that it works out the best possible way. But we just have to keep our connection there. Otherwise, it can still go in funny directions. So,
Wendy, would you like to add something?
Well, the beautiful thing that's happening in our subtle system after we get our realization is that our channels are becoming balanced. So we're having several things happen also, which is we have an enlightened attention, which means that our awareness can be in the present moment, in the central channel. And when the Kundalini comes up, it comes out the top of the head. The reason why we need this so much is it soothes our entire subtle system, just calms it, settles it down. We don't have too much heat on the right. We don't have too much cool on the left. We're in balance. And then this Kundalini connects us to something greater than ourselves, something beyond the mind, something that is whole and complete, and we've longed for it our whole life. So when we get that connection, it's kind of like once you've seen through it, you don't want to go back, right? You don't want to go back to the awareness that is only yourself, your own limited ego and superego. I had an interesting experience when I was 20. It was more than interesting. I had a stroke, which is very unusual, but I did. And that's when my seeking really started, because I realized I was still completely myself, exactly myself. I couldn't think straight and I couldn't talk very well. And I realized I'm not my mind. Then I had to go, what am I? If I'm not my mind. There's the rub, as Shakespeare would say. We come to this understanding that we are something much deeper, more precious, and much more subtle than we ever imagined. We're not just this physical, gross body. We are beautifully made with energy centers that give us powers, a Kundalini that gives us connection, and a spirit that gives us joy. So it's pretty cool. And I couldn't walk away. I don't know about anyone else, but I was hooked.
That's true. Once you touched it, absolutely true. So I have a question sitting here, which is, how do you have any suggestions? How do we go thoughtless? But again, once again, I want to deviate to one in between question. And the fact that I deviate is actually a part of this question. The thing is, spontaneity, as Shri Mataji mentioned in the speech, really means being completely in the present moment, not the past, not the present. And this spontaneity, actually the word itself means willingness, voluntary availability. And this word, as well as the word inspiration, again, I'm going to the music. Inspiration, I find it really fascinating, but inspiration means in or into, and spiratus means breathed in. Think of that. Breathed into you, or in other translations, you would find breathed into by the divine. That means there is a certain openness for you to exist. Let's say in a thoughtless awareness, to let this breath come through, to be inspired, to be ready to be breathed into from outside, clearly, right? But I will go a little bit further than that. From the music kind of perspective, there has to be a mastery. There has to be, and this is literally how the chakras go up. There has to be the innocence on the Muladhara. There has to be the knowledge that you acquire. You can't just take instrument and go, right? You have to learn how to play the instrument. You have to learn about the musical notes. You go up the Swadhisthana, and then you come to the mastery, to the Nabi. You have to master what you learned. There got a lot of self-discipline. Then you come to the heart. You come to the pulse, which actually so many things that I wanted to touch on have been touched already. Wendy did it in her meditation with the pulse, with the talking about the rhythm of the breathing. It's the breathing again, because spirit is in the heart. Spirit means then breathing, right? It's all connected. We have on the heart level the air element, the breathing, the lungs, right? So breathed into, and how Sylvia so beautifully did it with the rhythm, the spontaneous improvisation on top of you need the rhythm. It's the heartbeat. The heartbeat is the rhythm. That's when the life starts. And then on the next level, on the Vishuddhi, the expression, that means when you interact with everybody else. So it all goes up, tuck, 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 for the musician. But at the same time, when you reach here, it has to be without the ego and without the superego. It has to go through. So you're inspired, right? I mean, it's actually a phenomenon to think about it, but it has to be based on the knowledge, on the skill, on the mastery, in order to let the inspiration come and express it in what you hope for, the most inspired, the most vibrational music that helps other people meditate, for example. So the word spontaneity, the word inspiration, being there in the moment, not in the past, in the present. I don't know if anybody would like to add something onto my little theory here.
I just wanted to say one thing, which is I've always felt like the strengthening of our chakras and all the things we do every day to make our subtle system stronger is just building a stage for our spirit to dance on. And it will do it spontaneously, like you're saying. You don't have to try for that. You just need to take care of your subtle system and strengthen it, and then the magic happens.
The music is like soap bubbles, right? Because if our mind is busy and then we listen, for example, Indian classical music played by someone who practices Sahaja yoga, and then it takes our mind, it silences our mind, and it just goes up. So like the soap bubbles, it just floats. And that's why the music is so important also for our meditation, that if we are not able to become thoughtless, just listen to some music and focus for some time on the music. Maybe you follow the rhythm, you follow the melody, but that already takes away from our thoughts. And then spontaneously it happens, the Kundalini pushes through and we reach that gap between the two thoughts to be thoughtless. Yeah.
Steve?
Well, I'm just thinking.
You think? Wrong, stop. Sorry.
I'm reflecting on what you said, Sia, because it's very beautiful. And it reminded me of a couple of personal experiences. One was very early on where I was playing music with another person, actually. And it was improvised music, where that doesn't really work unless you're in that very receptive state, and but I had a particularly profound experience where I felt that, like, I was the instrument and somebody was playing me. I wasn't thinking about what I was doing. It was like it was being dictated to me, and I was just following instructions or something. It was just so spontaneous. It was like the music was flowing from somewhere through me into my instrument, and then I remember the thing that I really felt after that was, well, I don't want that to just happen with music. I want to live my life like that, you know? And the other memory that came to me at the same time when you were talking was many, many years later, like maybe 10 years ago. I had a very, very stressful, uh, high intensity presentation that I had to do in a very tense situation. And I was going over my notes, and I was thinking and trying to memorize all the thoughts I wanted to do. And then I was feeling very stressed. And I was about to get on this conference call. And I thought, forget it. Like, you know the material, you've looked at it. And I just spent a few minutes bringing my attention up. And I just said, I don't care. Whatever else happens, I'm going to do this with my attention here. And it was just such an amazing experience of the same thing, how the words just flowed and the explanations flowed, and it all made sense to people. And you could feel that you're just connected and you're really communicating. So I think in anything in life, if you're connected, art or whatever you're doing, even just communicating with another person, if you're connected, it goes the way it should go. The results
I'm
are
really
good.
glad you said that, Steve, because we here in this program with 21 days, we are prepared, we have certain things we have on our mind maybe, but in the evening, we get inspired and we go beyond the mind, really. Things fall into place, like Wendy will lead the meditation and feel, what do I feel now? Which chakra is catching? Which finger is telling me to work on? That's the spontaneous part. This is going beyond the mind, in the moment, feeling what is needed, which we all should try when we meditate, that we listen to ourselves, not the plan. So people say, what should I do? Be spontaneous. See, learn the basics. Again, we're going back there. You can learn the knowledge, the basics. It's not that hard. Once you got that connection of the fingers to the chakras, be spontaneous. Go beyond the mind. See, what am I feeling now, right? So there are, however, a couple of things we could tell our participants before we log off here, how to get beyond. There's a couple of tricks. And I would even go further and say, let's try them right now, all together. Here, whoever is left, before you hop on the breakout room, or if you're already in a breakout room, I don't know. So maybe let's start with Wendy, a couple of ways how to get us into thoughtless awareness beyond the mind.
I have something a little slightly different, but I will come back to a tip. In this program, we have shown you so many things, and some of you have expressed being overwhelmed by how many different things there are and not knowing what to do because you can't do it all the time. And what we've done is given you a bunch of tips through the whole program about things that you can do that can help you go quiet. And what I really recommend, just from my own experience, is find out what it is. What is it that helps you go quiet? And just do that. And you just don't need to do anything else. And if you're quiet, you don't need to work on your chakras or anything. Just allow yourself to be in that quiet, because there was a talk where Shri Mataji was saying that even 2 minutes of absolute quiet from the mind is a miracle for human beings. And just a brief period of quiet just gives you so much relief, physically, subtly, in every way. So you start out in the beginning and maybe you're only touching it for a few minutes, which is in itself a miracle. And then you just expand it. And this is the new tip, maybe. So when you're out and you're doing something and your Kundalini responds to something and just takes you into the quiet, encourage it. Stay there. Don't pull yourself out into your normal routine of thinking and planning. Allow yourself to spontaneously go quiet and stay there and encourage it.
Makes you think of Einstein's soap bubbles, right? He was trying to, Mataji many times tells how he was trying to figure the theory of relativity, and then in the end, when he takes a break, he just plays with the soap bubbles, and that's when it came. A little bit like that. Let's go with the flow. Don't know. So let's just end this session with a meditation and just listen to all these suggestions that you have now to reach thoughtless awareness. I'm going to start with the obvious, to put our right hand on the forehead and say, I forgive. I forgive. And also important, I forgive myself. And say it from the heart without thinking of any specific happenings or people. So I'm just going to leave the mic open, and whoever feels ready can continue this process.
Keep the right hand above the head a few inches. Find where is your Kundalini. And we stay there for a few moments. And the affirmation I frequently use is, Mother, please nourish my subtle system. Mother, please bring me in complete balance and in deep meditation.
And allow yourself to take a nice deep breath in and out, and allow your breath to relax you. And once you've physically relaxed, you can put your awareness at the top of your head. Just take a few nice deep breaths together.
We can take our left hand and place it on the liver, which is underneath the right rib cage and feeds the thought process. We can say, Mother Kundalini, please cool my liver. Please stop my thoughts.
We can balance our right side, pointing the left hand towards the sky, palm facing backwards. Mother, please remove all futuristic thinking and planning from our right side and take it into the sky.
And whilst you do that, watch your thoughts. Just watch, because that will cancel them. We can slowly open our eyes, and finally we can look at the picture of Shri Mataji. And you will notice that just looking at Shri Mataji in complete thoughtless awareness is possible. If you don't have a picture, you can use the candle. Look into the flame. You can raise your hands. Stay in this thoughtless state. And see what you feel on the hands. And finally, let's check again over our head if the Kundalini feels really cool now, coming out of our head. Sometimes it's further away. And then switch hands. And with our attention up here, we one more time raise our Kundalini and give ourselves a bandhan. In a minute, the tech team will maybe have some music for us so we can stay in this beautiful thoughtless state. In the meanwhile, thank you so much. Wendy, Steve, Sylvia, lots of love to you. Lots of love to all the participants. Have a lovely night.
Thank you. Good
You
night,
too.
everybody.
Bye, everyone.